Breaking down breaking. Breaking, also known as breakdancing, is making its Olympic debut at the Paris Games, adding a dynamic and culturally rich element to the competition. Originating in the South Bronx of New York City in the 70s, breaking has grown into a global phenomenon, captivating audiences around the world. This year, 16 male and 16 female dancers will go head to head for Olympic gold. The competition is structured in an engaging way, featuring one-on-one battles where dancers show off their skills and creativity to win over the judges. In these battles, competitors take turns performing, each trying to outshine the other with their unique moves and style. The competition starts with a round robin, where dancers go up against others in their group. The top performers then advance to the knockout rounds, where only the best battle it out for the gold medal. Judges evaluate the dancers based on technique, vocabulary, execution, musicality, and originality. Each of these categories is equally important, contributing 20% to the dancer's total score. The comprehensive scoring system ensures that all aspects of the dancer's performance are considered, from their technical prowess to their creative expression. The scores from each battle determine who moves forward, making every round a critical step. UK protests. Recently, the UK has been gripped by violent riots following the tragic stabbings of three young girls in a dance class. Tensions started to flare up when false rumors started circulating, incorrectly accusing an asylum seeker of the crime. This misinformation sparked widespread anger and led to violent protests in cities such as Plymouth and Southport, where anti-immigrant rioters clashed with counter-protesters. In response to the escalating violence, the British Prime Minister has pledged to deploy a substantial police presence to clamp down on the riots and prevent further unrest. So far, the authorities have arrested over 370 individuals involved in the disturbances, highlighting the seriousness of the government's crackdown. The current climate has instilled fear and concern among many citizens, particularly within the Muslim community, who feel targeted by far-right groups. The government has promised to step in and take strong actions against those inciting violence, emphasizing its commitment to maintaining order and protecting vulnerable communities from further attacks. Google's monopoly. Google recently faced a significant legal setback in the United States when a judge ruled that the company illegally maintained its monopoly over search engine services, allowing it to inflate ad prices. This decision was hailed by the U.S. Attorney General as a monumental victory for American consumers. However, Google disagreed, arguing that its success was due to superior technology rather than anti-competitive practices, and announced plans to appeal the ruling. For everyday users of Google, this ruling is unlikely to bring immediate changes. Despite the legal decision, Google still holds more than 90% of the search engine market. The appeal process, which could take a considerable amount of time, means that the current state of affairs will likely remain unchanged in the short term. The broader tech industry is closely watching this situation, as the ruling signals the government's willingness to challenge the dominance of major tech companies. This could lead to increased scrutiny and regulation of other giants like Apple, Meta, and Amazon, potentially transforming how these companies operate and ensuring they adhere more strictly to antitrust laws. Russia throttles speeds. Many users in Russia have recently faced significant disruptions while trying to access YouTube, according to some monitoring platforms. The issues began shortly after midnight on August 1st, quickly leading to over 400 complaints. Although the number of reports decreased later in the morning, problems persisted throughout the day in various regions, including Moscow and Vladivostok, indicating a widespread impact. This comes days after Russian lawmakers warned that the government could deliberately throttle YouTube speeds. This appears to be a response to Google's non-compliance with Russian authorities' demands, but it's still unclear whether it stemmed from technical problems or intentional interference. The Russian government's efforts to suppress the flow of information that contradicts its official stance on political issues have intensified since 2022. Internationally, similar issues were reported around the same time, albeit not as severe as what happened in Russia. This incident underscores the growing conflict between global tech companies and authoritarian regimes over control of online content, and serves as a wake-up call to supporters of free speech. Plane crash in Brazil. A tragic accident occurred in Sao Paulo state when an aircraft crashed into several houses in a residential neighborhood in Vigo, approximately 80 kilometers north of Sao Paulo city. The crash claimed the lives of all 61 individuals on board, including both passengers and crew. Videos circulating on social media show the harrowing moment the plane fell out of the sky. Authorities have recovered the aircraft's black box and are diligently investigating the cause of the crash. Brazil's president expressed his deep sorrow over the disaster and called for a moment of silence to honor the victims. The president's sentiments were echoed across the country as people grappled with the sudden loss. Witnesses described the terrifying moment when the plane nosedived towards the ground, fearing it might crash near their homes. Fortunately, no one on the ground was injured. Journalists reporting from the crash site painted a picture of national grief, with many describing the event as a dark day for Brazil. The investigation continues as officials try to understand what caused this devastating accident, with the hope of preventing future tragedies.